everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Today we're looking at an AIYIMA amplifier. This is an interesting little device, and as you guys know, I use passive speakers, so I don't typically need an amplifier. However, if I were to get one, I would want one that was a small form factor like this, plus it's got really good visual appeal from the front. Let me show you what I mean. You're not going to want to miss this. All right, and welcome back to the studio. It's been a little while since we did a video in here. Okay, so here it is. This is the A80 from AIYIMA. It's a 300 watt by 2 amplifier with Bluetooth. So it's a 2.0, meaning stereo left and right, 2.1, meaning stereo left and right plus a subwoofer, or 5.1, so you can do the surround sound thing as well. So here is a look at the box. We've got some basic specifications. All right, and those are the specifications. If you are interested, go ahead and pause and we'll proceed. Okay, and as we open this, I want to talk briefly about Class D amplifiers, what they are and what they're not. This is a Class D amplifier. First of all, Class D amplifiers are not digital at all. So people think that you're digitizing your audio if you use a Class D amplifier. Not the case whatsoever. D is just the naming sequence. You've heard of Class A, Class B. Well, it's just the next one in the line. Class D was just the next letter in the works. Wow, look at this. This is really interesting. It's a really thick cardstock user guide. Very nice, full color. I dig it. That's really, really cool. And the way a Class D amplifier works and the reason why they run so cool is basically it uses a series of transistors, and those transistors get turned on and off very fast, like thousands to millions of times per second to form the waveform. That's why it runs cool, because they don't have time to heat up, etc., etc. So it forms the waveform by switching those on and off, on and off. Okay, so we've got this little card here. Very nice. Wow, look at the size of this power supply. That is a beast, but I like the brushed look to it. I love it when electronics do this. Extra little touches like that. Yeah, this is gonna, be buried behind a cabinet and never be seen, but the brief moments you're interacting with it, it's kind of nice. Now, actually, most people will probably be able to see this because the power indicator light will be on there, and obviously this will take your AC power cord and convert it into DC power. So this is a 48 volt, 5 amp power supply. And here is the AC cord as well. Looks like we've got a Bluetooth antenna, an optical cable. I needed another one of those. I'm really glad that came with one. This does have a built-in DAC. Also, we've got a USB-C to USB-A with that little removable cap, so it can also go USB-C to USB-C. We've got another one of our favorite remote controls. But honestly, if I was going to do a set of passive speakers and a amplifier, I would go with a modular small one like this rather than going with like a receiver, like a big honking receiver. I just like the smaller components. So, all right, here's the device. Funny how people just assume D means digital. It does not. It is an analog amplifier. Okay, so here is the device. First impressions are the weight is right. It feels heavy like an amplifier should. High-res audio. Boy, we see that sticker everywhere. In fact, I don't know what device it was recently I reviewed that came with an extra one. I've got an extra high-res audio sticker. Now, there are specifications that a device is supposed to have in order to achieve that rating, but it is what it is. So this is an aluminum case. It looks like we got some ventilation on the side. Looking on the back, we have some RCA caps with the rubber covers here. Our input section is clearly labeled, which I like. So this is our input section. We've got left and right, TRS, 1/4 inch, and RF. What in the heck? RF, and there's a rubber cap. Okay, that's the Bluetooth antenna. That's interesting. I was like, what in the heck? USB-C input, so if you're going from like a computer, PS5, something like that. Our optical input, with the provided cable, we could do that. Also a coaxial, so a variety of digital inputs. These are going to be analog input. also the RCA left and right, analog input. We've got a 12-volt trigger. And I've seen these triggers before, and I've mentioned them briefly, but if you're wondering what the triggers are for, the trigger basically allows you to connect this to another device so that when you turn that device on, it also turns this device on, so you don't have to power up each individual device. There's also an aux out and the power supply as well. And here are the speaker terminals. Those look quite robust, as they should. Looks like you can plug in your banana plugs, or you can unscrew this and put the wire to the speaker in there. Okay, let's go ahead and power it up. And we'll look at the menu. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's pretty well outfitted as a DAC and amplifier kind of combined. And like I've said fairly recently, a couple of times, a lot of devices are combining features. You find DACs with headphone amplifiers. You'll find headphone amplifiers with, I don't even know. But basically they're combining features into products. So the products will do not just one thing, but they'll do two things. So that's nice. It definitely helps save space as well. Let me go ahead and plug this in right here. Also, by the way, these TRS connections back here are balanced, in case I didn't say that earlier. And let's go ahead and plug in our power. Just like I predicted, that does light up green. That is a beastly power supply. And we'll go ahead and put this right here. And there's a little film that you need to, oops. It took the sticker off, but not the film itself. Okay, I'm going to try to actually pull the film off. Usually you pull the little sticker and it pulls the whole thing off. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're ready to go. Let me power it up and reset the camera angle, and we'll take a look at the menu. Okay, here's the front panel. By the way, the knob is metal. This is probably a glass front panel. We've got the infrared receiver. This is like a multi-function knob. So we're going to press it and hold it to power it on, which will do nothing. And then we're going to tap it once, and that's how you turn it on. Okay. It's so frustrating how these screens just look washed out on camera. To the naked eye, they look really sharp. So obviously we got a VU meter there. Let me see if I can get a better shot of just the screen. Okay, that's better. Just remember there's a knob off to the right, and that's how I'm driving things. So on the screen there, you're going to see a few things. We've got BT flashing on the bottom left. That would be Bluetooth, PCM, audio, and the section with the 3 dots to the right. I'm not sure what that is yet. The volume is stepped. You can hear that clicking as I rotate it. You can also obviously use the remote control to increase the volume or decrease the volume from across the room. If I press on that button, I get a menu of a few different options here. So let's start with input. We can click through there. Oh, this is very nice and visual. I like this. So RCA, TRS, coax, optical, USB, or Bluetooth. That is really, really nice. We're going to be using optical. Actually, I don't know. Let's do RCA. Let's do RCA for now. I might change my mind there. Tone control. So we've got, you can pick either bass or treble, and then you can adjust it. We'll leave it flat for now. And how do I go back? Do I just wait a second? I'm sure there's a back button on the remote. If I just wait a second, it'll go back. So there we go. Yep. So clicking again brings up the light option. And that's just the dimming capability for the display. Select it by clicking and then wait, and it will default back. I'm really pleased how this is coming across on camera. That's still a bit washed out. The bar is not white like that. Clicking again, we can go to style. Oh, this is cool. So you can pick the kind of VU meter that you want. If you want like a color spectrum, that's cool. That's really cool. And look at this one with the stereo VU meters. There's some cool options. That one looks really sharp to the naked eye and not so hot on camera. So let's go ahead and back to the white background analog VU meter for now. That's essentially it. So let me go ahead and connect the device and we'll see how it behaves. Okay, so we're going to be listening to this vintage Sony CD player here. It's a very nice one. And we're going to put in our Sounds of Austria compact disc in here. This actually does have digital output, but we're going to use just an analog line output for now. If I am going to use this in my setup, I'm definitely going to opt for the optical or coaxial inputs. if I have a chance to do so. But for today's demonstration, I think this will be adequate. So let me go ahead and power up this player and we'll take a look at the unit. Okay, looking at the display again, you can see we have a signal playing from the RCA input. I can toggle through with the remote the different inputs. At the bottom left, you can see as I change through those, obviously the needle goes flat until it sees or hears a signal. But there we are at RCA, and you can see it peaking there around -30. If I go into the menu from here and let's say I want to change the style, I'd be curious what the different options look like. Again, this does not do it justice. I'm going to have to do it with here because I'm more accustomed to using the knob. Here's what the stereo VU meters look like. Again, that sort of grayscale background and softness is only on camera, unfortunately. To the naked eye, it's sharp and crisp with a dark gray background. And if I go over to this version here, we can see that we're getting a spectrum analyzer in full color, which is actually really, really cool. It looks totally washed out there, unfortunately. Had an idea just to use my phone for the close-up shots. The iPhone does such a better job when it comes to color and close focus. So that's what the spectrum analyzer looks like. And let me go back to the stereo VU meter so you can see that. It's a little bit more accurate to what it looks like to the naked eye. Pretty dang cool looking. And then if we go back to the default, that's what that looks like. A little bit better in person. Even more so to the naked eye still, but that's better. Okay, so here are the speakers I'm going to use. Again, I'm not a big passive speaker guy, but I have these. These are angel horn speakers from one of those all-in-one solutions. They are 4 ohm speakers. They're only rated to like, let's see, 18 watts. So they're not the most powerful things, but the impedance is correct. The amplifier that we're looking at today is a 300 watts times 2. So we're going to have to barely put any power down the line so we don't blow these to high heaven. But it should allow us to give them a listen. Okay, here's our setup for the purposes of this video. Yes, the speakers are close together, but this is a mono ambient microphone we're going to be listening on, so it won't matter. The stereo separation will not be demonstrated in this video. Also, I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, this being a DAC, you would think, it's probably just got a fairly basic DAC. It actually has a really nice ESS DAC. It's a really nice DAC. So as a DAC input device, this will allow you to eliminate having to get a separate DAC, because this is a very respectable, spec'd out digital input device as it is, which is really, really cool. I like that. How is this thing going to sound? Well, there's so many variables. The biggest variable are your speakers, and only you know your speakers. So it's tough for me to say how it's going to sound. That's the tough part. I can't really tell you longevity at this point, durability. I can tell you how it performs right now in my little test with my little speakers, but give you a tour of the device. But to really hear it and know what this sounds like, you're going to have to try out different speakers, your setup, your room acoustics, and that's going to be beyond the scope of this video. However, I hope to give you an accurate first impression here with what I do have. So, and again, I'm not a passive speaker guy. I only have a couple pairs, and this is one of them. 4 ohms, and I think we're locked and loaded. So I'm going to hit play up here, and I'm going to slowly turn this up, and we should hear sound. I'm hearing something. Also, the wattage greatly depends on the power supply. Sometimes they will send you a 300, when I say they, sometimes companies will send you something that's like 300 watts times 2, but the included power supply won't get you there. It takes, a higher end power supply. I don't know if that's the case here or not, but something to consider. I'm able to go up. That's 50%, and it's totally handling the load. Oh. Something bad just happened. I don't know if I blew the speakers. What? That's a line output, so there shouldn't be any. No, speakers aren't blown. There we go. I don't know what happened there. What the heck? I feel like it's something with the CD player. 60%. And they're just like, that's... Okay, I think it's the CD player. Let me try a different device. Okay, that was not a particularly reliable CD player. This one is. This is my D131. And actually, I need to put batteries in this thing. So this should do the trick. We're using the line level output. So it'll be getting a pure line level signal. Same CD. This is a budget device. There's no optical out or anything like that. And we're going to go right into the line level output. And we're going to hit play as soon as I take it off of hold. And here we go with the volume again. Sounds great. Skip forward. I thought with this thing being so powerful that I could, barely get this to like 5% to drive these, but I'm thinking the power supply isn't pushing this as high as it can go. So I've seen that before. So if you want to do the full 300 watts, you may need a higher end or a more powerful power supply. This sounds great. I've got the full range of volume at my disposal without blowing these out. Sounds good too, very rich and full. Speakers are not bad at all. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go over to Bluetooth mode on these. Let me use the remote to select the input. You'll have to trust me that I'm doing that. Bluetooth is flashing in the bottom left-hand corner. And we are connected now for some music. Bass was incredible. It was very clear and smooth. There was no signal noise that I could hear. I sounded really clean and clear. Again, there's a lot of variables when it comes to this stuff. And but this is a very cool, capable device. Price-wise, we're about $180 and change on Amazon right now. It's like 20% off. So I'll go ahead and put a link down below if you want to snag this thing up. This also has me rethinking these speakers, which I keep in storage except for videos like this, because this is a very cool setup. This is a very, very cool setup, actually. So, do I need another setup? Do I need to change things up somewhere? I'm eternally changing setups. But it's got me thinking, that sounds really, really good. So, amplifiers. Maybe we should do more amplifier videos on this channel. What do you guys think? All right, my friends, and that's going to do it. It was awesome. It was good. If this fits your setup, this is what you're looking for. I think this is a good one based on everything I can tell at this point. Let me know down in the comments below what you use for an amplifier. And also, don't forget our $1 membership program, our merchandise, our adapters, all that cool stuff. But my friends, that's going to do it for today. So happy record hunting, and we'll see you next time.